Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SmeeSports YouTube channel. As today, we have a very special episode of SmeeSports Sitdown. We have never covered golf until today, and nobody better than Bradley Chill, the rising sophomore at Indiana, to give us our first taste of golf coverage. Bradley is a good friend of mine back at my SJJ days, knew him for a long time there. Then we went our separate ways in high school. I went to Holy Name, he went to St Ignatius, and now, as we all expected when we were way younger, he has made it to the big time of Division One. Bradley, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Good to talk to you again. I
Yeah.
believe we've last talked at your grad party last summer, and I think it's very fitting that during that party, which should be a joyous occasion of celebrating you, you were out there hitting golf balls pretty much the whole entire time. And for those who don't know Bradley Chill, this kid from the youngest age, he pretty much embodied what it means to be Mr. Golf. Every day, golf, 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 and it has gotten him very far. So my first question for you, Bradley, is at what point during your early stages of your golf journey did you realize this might actually be something that I could take to the Division One level and beyond?
I've always had a pretty competitive spirit pretty much my whole life. I've been playing tournaments since I was 6, 7 years old, locally and regionally around the country. That competitive spirit's just kind of carried over as I've developed in my in the game. I just kind of progressively have gotten better, and it took me to where I am today.
And throughout that progression, you had a lot of different tournaments you played in and also a lot of different situations. St. Ignatius, I'm sure, prepared you very well for Indiana. Looking at your time as a Wildcat, two different head coaches, but you were still very consistent throughout your 4 years in the Cleveland area. You were a two-time All-Ohio team member. You won at least one state title with Ignatius Golf. Just talk about your time in high school and the player that you were coming in to the player that you were when you left. Talk about that growth.
It's because I see a big difference, or I did see a big difference from when I was a freshman in high school to when I graduated and left for IU. We had a really good team when I was there. We had 2 state titles and a runner up my freshman year. And there was a time where four out of the 5 guys who played on the state championship team ended up going to that Division 1 level. And, we were pretty fortunate and pretty lucky. And we were able to have a great group of guys that were all fantastic golfers. And we were very competitive with each other. And that helped us with our development in the game and take us to the Division 1 college level.
And I'm sure no matter where you went for high school, you would have been successful. But choosing St. Ignatius, you had that extra chip on your shoulder. Whenever you hear St. Ignatius or Iggy, that extra pedigree is expected of you. Just talk about managing that and how that has helped you prepare to take on that albatross of being a Division One golfer, as I'm sure that does carry a lot of weight.
For St. Ignatius has a lot of pride in what they do. And that I kind of have the same pride for IU. You have to represent well. And it's in my development at St. Ignatius has helped me with that representation to when I got to Indiana. So I do see some correlation between those two.
And speaking of Indiana, not a state that you told us that you traveled to when you were younger. Most times when you went out of town, it was to Florida or somewhere in the South. So how did you end up picking Indiana? Talk about the recruiting process and all that goes into it. We hear a lot about it with football and baseball, but I'm sure with golf, it's a lot different.
I just wanted to go to a school that I loved. And, my head coaches and my assistant coach are fantastic. I really liked them. I loved what Indiana had to offer. Loved the campus, loved the school, loved the facilities. I just loved everything there was about it. It was just the perfect school for me, and I couldn't see myself going anywhere else.
And through year one, that looks to be like the right choice. Looking at your stats real quick, 27 rounds of golf this past season, 1,964 strokes, 72.74 average, your low game, 66 on the year. And as a freshman, I'm sure that is a number that you carry with a lot of pride, but as well, knowing you want to strive to do better. Just talk about your freshman year. Talk about the player that you were at the beginning to the player that you are now entering your sophomore year, a year that can really put you on the map even more so nationally.
You know, as I really have seen a lot of progress since I came to IU in last August, and I've gained a lot of experience seeing college golf courses. College golf courses are a lot different than what you see in junior golf. They're much longer, much more difficult, especially with hole locations. They're much tougher than what you normally see in a junior golf setting. And, just that experience has really helped me, just seeing really hard golf courses, PGA Tour level type of golf courses that we play at times. And that definitely will help coming into this year as I continue playing in events.
And as well, staying with the theme of last season, you said you had to get adjusted to a lot of different college level golf courses. Beyond that, was there a specific team that really tested your resolve more than the others? Or in a game like golf where it's you versus yourself pretty much, was that just something in the background?
You kind of hit it. You explained it perfectly. It's us versus ourselves. Golf's kind of a different game where it's up to us players. We make decisions for ourselves, and we have to go out and do the best we possibly can. And the only people that can affect us is ourselves. So you're exactly right. It's us against ourselves, and if we play well, we can beat a lot of teams. So that's what we try to go do every event we play in.
And one more thing on last year, heading in, it's a new setting, a lot of people that you do not know, but that did not phase you. Talk about your family and how your upbringing in a business household helped prepare you for what you can really equate to networking sessions with your teammates that eventually led you guys to become closer.
Just I grew up very disciplined. Discipline's very important, especially in college golf, especially even playing a round of golf. You have to be patient. Things may not go well. You may get off to a bad start. And you just have patience is really important. And it's kind of key. It's a very important key when it comes to playing well, especially on very difficult golf courses. And you can't let your rounds get away because every stroke is really important, especially at our level.
And sticking with that discipline, I'm sure throughout your time at Ignatius and now at IU, you're starting to see media attention, people talking about you, your names popping up in different articles. Even at SJJ, there were a couple of times where you pointed out, oh, look, there's my name in an article from a random paper. How do you manage that pressure of so many people talking about you? You grow up watching all these great sports figures, and just like them, you're in the spotlight and everybody's looking at you.
I learned to manage it as I've gotten older. It's just kind of grown into me. I kind of ignore it, honestly. It doesn't really put pressure on me anymore. And it's just something as I've gotten older, I've just have been able to get used to it. And same thing with all of us, all of my teammates and everybody I've grown up playing golf with. They've all learned to handle it better as they've gotten more developed in the game.
Bouncing back to your family, that was a big part of your golf journey and still is. Your sister Christina, a golfer at Magnificat. But just talk about all the golfers in your family, as you have a lot of them that have paved the way for you to be where you are right now.
Well, I have pretty much every member of my family plays golf at some level. My uncle is a very good golfer. He played in 3 U.S. Opens. Played golf at Florida State. And he's had a lot of experience too in the game, especially playing at that Division I level. And he's given me some wisdom and insight as to things that could help me, especially at this level of golf. And and it's also helped me get better. And I have a great support system around me, and I'm very grateful for that.
Year number two about to start. You said you're leaving for Indiana on Sunday. What is your expectation heading in? I haven't seen an official schedule posted. I'm sure you have some idea of the opponents, but what is your prep going to look like heading into this year with the knowledge and the experience of 1 year of college golf under your belt?
You got to be prepared. You got to work hard. All of us are working hard right now. Every single player on the team is working hard for the season. You've got to be prepared for every event. You've got to try to do your best. It's important. You've got to do everything you can to play the best golf possible. So we're all prepared, we're ready, and we're looking forward to what's ahead.
And speaking of what's ahead, this is a big year for golf as a sport. It seems like more and more people are starting to buy in and start to follow the sport. We've seen that with women's basketball. We've seen that with lacrosse over the past couple of years. More and more people starting to watch it. What would your sales pitch, so to speak, be to somebody who usually doesn't watch golf as to why they should start watching the sport?
Golf is pretty interesting of a sport. You don't really get that. Some people, not as many people get that as excitement as if you were to watch it on TV, as if you would like a basketball game or an NFL game. So it's kind of a different type of excitement. I just think coming down the stretch in a golf tournament, like if I were to watch a golf tournament, it's really, really close coming down to the last hole. I think that's really exciting for me. A lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the players. And just watching those moments on Sunday afternoons in a PGA Tour event, I think they're a lot of fun and they bring a lot of excitement.
Before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to tell the people at home how they can follow you and your teammates at Indiana this year. Is there a way to watch the games? Do you have to follow along on a website? And as well, how can they stay up to date with not only IU, but also you on social media?
If you just IU Golf is up, they post the results on social media platforms during every event. Not all of our tournaments are televised, but we do post our results on from a round basis on social media, and people could see scores there.
Awesome. Thank you again to Bradley for joining us this evening. I'm sure this is something that was not on your radar last week to be doing at 9:30 on a Monday night, but it's good to see this side of the sport of golf. Bradley, from a young age, always told us just how he was doing in golf, and that was always a highlight for us at SJJ of just hearing how he was doing and to see his hard work pay off. It has truly been a blessing, as we all knew what he could do, and now I'm glad that everybody is starting to see that. Bradley, thank you again. Make sure you follow IU Golf on all of their social medias, and one day when you're watching the Masters, watching another golf competition, you hear Bradley's name, just remember that he's just a kid from Columbia Station, Ohio, who has made the most of the opportunities given to him. Before we sign off on the actual video, we're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure you go down below and hit that red button as well. Make sure you enable that bell next to it. That way you are alerted whenever we do upload. Thank you all for watching today, and we will see you again next time. This has been episode 2 of SmeeSports Sit Down.